Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be breaking down some Valorant games, and to start off this series we're going to be looking into a gold ranking game.
Let's go right now.
I managed to get to Immortal 8000 when I was playing competitive often, so please bear in mind that I too have a lot of improvement to make.
It was rotating all.
So firstly I wanted to feature attack, and I'm going to be using Reyna for this. It's important to note the team composition so you can try and determine a potential playstyle for the team. I can see they have Skye, Viper and Killjoy, so I'm expecting them to play quite passively on site and Reyna to potentially push with the flashes. I'll be making voice notes as I go along, so what's coming up in the future parts of this video I can't remember exactly, to try and demonstrate to you my thinking process and how the game plays out. I will be featuring the full game too, so deaths included. Now let's discuss the buy. On the first round I tend to buy Ghost. I think it's a well-rounded weapon, but there's times I also stick with the classic and go light armor. That's when I play Sage, when I feel a wall could be beneficial on the map if we get spiked down. There's always the option of picking up an enemy or a teammate's weapon anyway, and given that it is pistol round, a wall can be a massive inconvenience, so learning the importance of this can set a momentum for your future rounds if it pays off. I don't think a deagle buy is worth it at all, really.
Spike down A.
You SMG steal.
Sirs.
So round 1 the team decides to go A. I'm a little late to the party for entry frags, so we'll see how the team approaches this. We're covering many angles here from Raze and Omen's position, and we're ready to push fast to prevent the rotation. I whiff these shots on Reyna and we can already see some nice utility from Killjoy preventing the plant, exactly as I had anticipated. To prevent us all pushing down the narrow alleyway, I decided to pull back to try and get an angle on Heaven instead, but also to listen out for flankers. At this point it's extremely important to decide whether to commit to the site or rotate, which is why you can expect a flanker if they haven't decided to rotate safely. I've noted that Raze and Skye flanked that round, and I picked up a scuffed 2 kills. Because we're on attack, and we're still not confident of the enemy playstyle, we decide to keep classic and not force. Forcing here is a very risky move, and I think that should only be considered on defense. Because we lost on A2, we've decided to go mid and B just to see how they defend in those areas. Omen scores a nice sneaky kill and I flash DT to put the rotation from A on edge. Then again I flash on B because I'm aware there is still presence here. I walk up to the smoke and I was planning on surprising them with a fast right click, but unfortunately I died to mid, so I should have been faster here and just gone for it. I wanted to leave this round running so we could watch the Jet decisions against the turret. You can see here she peeked for way over a second and missed 2 bullets. If you're going to miss and potentially get shot, just go back into cover, and unfortunately she died to the turret. Our teammates clutch round 2, and this is where the real fun begins now, the buy round. We just won attacking mid and B, so we think in the enemy's mindset that we are going to repeat that play, but now with even more firepower. However, we decide to go back A to see how this now fares out. I wanted to entry frag this round, but as you can see, Omen and Sage are just sending it. I need to catch up quick and support the team. The Viper wall combined with the Reyna flashes cut me off and they score a couple of kills. My pick on Reyna here is quite important though. Notice how she sees me, and normally in gold rank, someone in my position would keep pushing it to try and get Reyna. However, just because I stayed, she decided to peek me instead. So instead, it was an easier kill for me to make. I retreat again and jiggle for information, this time catching the Killjoy off guard. I die to Raze and I'm debating whether I should have retreated again, or have just been good enough to hit the shot. The main thing to note here though is the change of position after scoring each kill and keeping the enemy on their toes. For round 4 we changed the attack again and I hold mid. I know Killjoy is playing B now, and I pre-fire a few areas just to establish dominance in that area, Hopefully someone will stick to defending it. I go to support Sage and secure any potential rotations, as I notice she's flicking between the two spots not knowing how close Sky is, from which we just heard the flashbang from. I was moving while spraying and crouching, and yeah, just horrible. Jet managed to score another kill this round though, and I just want to talk about switching off. Here in the 4v1 she decided to start jumping up and down, so just be aware that for the whole game you have to focus. It's still not a dead set victory. We're 4v1 in this situation, but don't do anything like this to try and give her the chance to win. It's not a dead set victory. We win this round, but because I died, I'm now struggling for money. Because the team is doing okay though, I force up a Vandal with light armor and decide again to go mid this round. Given that Razor's already got an angle, I go to support A, and you can see again Sage is sending it, and she does get the entry frag. With the Killjoy ult though, and we have no information on where anyone is, I call to pull back and just play number advantage.
Yeah, let's just go power lobby. He passes spike. I'll just plan.
Now we go back into A, and I prepare flashes for the re-entry. Jet makes a pick holding heaven with the operator, and I secure ground for the plant. After plant, given where Omen and Sage are playing, I wanted to hold heaven to stop any sneaky aggressors, and I catch Raze already on site. The Omen smoke here allowed people to cross without being detected, and it could have been really bad for the team. I could have just gone back after planting, but we managed to secure the round anyway. This next round I decide to show presence at mid again, because I'm curious to see if there are any peekers this time, given that they know that we've been mid the past 3 rounds. I hear Reyna is coming fast, and I react so terribly to this and she destroys me. The team now really struggle to defend flank after this. We can see here the Jet is playing very reactively with the operator. I think just a little patience would go a long way here. Omen secures a plant and decides to move into CT area for some quick space. A play like this can go a long way and lead to some nice clutch situations, but you can see here he decides against it halfway and decides to hold Snowman instead, which is just too many areas to defend when the enemies start to retake site. For round 7 we change it up again and attack B this time, and I'm pushing through with flashes so that the team can move up quickly with me. I'm just staying relatively patient at this point to try and hear what's going on, and I can tell Sky is close because of the ultimate sound, and there will most likely be another one close to site.
On the race.
I then decide to play aggressively to take space and catch anyone else off guard, but am now out of flashes. Given the lack of utility on site, we don't believe that the full defense has rotated over to B yet. I take out the operator and Raze fired next to me too, so I pick up those kills, which are 2 very easy kills to make. I need to change position quick now because I can get shot from CT, and with the footsteps and shot sounds I know Viper is there. This secures round 7, and moving into round 8 we decided to yet again change up the attack and go to A. We're executing another full team rush, and I'm expecting Viper to cut us off with utility again. Sage again sends it short and spots Reyna. I manage to secure the frag and gather info on Viper after Sage gets fragged. I can see Omen and Raze are very low HP on my team, so I decide to play aggressively to try and pick one holding this CT angle again. I get told Sky is flanking, so now I know that my position is extremely weak to hold, so I decide to get some cover from the left. I'm just keeping care now of most of the angles to try and get a pick quickly, and I end up catching Sky with a headshot that Omen finishes off, and then I quickly look towards CT where I expect Killjoy to be pushing from. The idea behind this is that if my teammates die quickly, then suddenly the enemy realises it's now a 2v1 situation.
No idea, but it was a good blind.
Their Viper is terrifying. I love it.
The next round is the ace from the start of this video, and I decide to go mid this time and Raze gets aggro. I secure the kill and I'm watching mid for any other aggressors, because Reyna did this in the previous round. I then go towards B because I hear Sky activity, and quite honestly, I want payback from the previous round that she deagled me.
Worth rotating all.
I'm taking care mid, but I'm still not sure about B and how close Sky is, so I just keep holding. After she dies, I wanted to take space on B quickly, because if Sky has pushed up that far, then there isn't going to be someone holding site just pointlessly. The spike goes down, so I go back to help the team recover it, getting kills on the Reyna and then the Viper. The team then call out the final last position to aid me in getting the ace. For round 9, and you'll start to see a theme here, we now decide to attack B. The enemy at this point is so demoralised and clueless on how to play because we keep changing it up, and we have so much momentum now. I follow the same format as previous and flash to allow my team to peek and push up quickly with me. My position was terrible against the Killjoy ult, so I start to push back, but Omen, the mad lad, secures a double frag and takes out the ult. And now we're dominating at this point, the enemy is crushed.
Use kills. We're waiting. I can't heal, by the way.
Alright, no problem.
I take out Raze and then get the plant down. After the plant, I do go aggressive because we already have so much space.
One enemy remaining.
I push into the smoke after hearing Viper footsteps at Snowman, and I pull out the classic for the memes, and I'm feeling quite sorry for them now. I end up right-clicking Viper and that's round 10. For the next round I wanted to try and lurk B, to bait the team this time into thinking it's a B attack. Instead I see one of them is holding long with a scout, so I jiggle to bait a shot and then secure the kill. We get the plant down and I rotate into mid for aggression on the rotators, catching Killjoy running down towards there from B after the first person died up there front with the scout. I then push in to finish the Raze while he was shooting another enemy.
Last round before the switch.
For the final round I push in, and yeah, it's a really bad one. I start spraying and manage to take out the Killjoy, but get finished off by the Viper, which is less than optimal performance. I can see here the rounds I die early or do nothing, we then start to lose.
Spike down A.
We go into defense on a 9-3 curse and I kept dying early on with a couple frags, but we still managed to win. Here we adapted our play to overcome the enemy, so that if we were losing rounds, we would try out a different approach and stick to our strengths.
Defenders win.
I also hit match MVP here, and although I'm not trying super hard, it was still disappointing to review the rounds I died in, and particularly how I died, so a lot of work to go as well. I don't get to play duelist often either, so that's something I'm now going to start picking up too. Now we're going to be reviewing defense, and this one's on a center Sova. You can gather so much information of Sova on this map, so how you use him can be really beneficial. Again, we're featuring a 3-9 game to show as many rounds as possible.
I quit FPS after this, by the way. Huh? I quit FPS after this match.
For this game, I'm mostly going to be firing a couple arrows straight away so I can find out if the enemy is pushing fast. This is usually a shock for crowd control, and I follow up with a recon so the defender has a better idea of the rush.
How many grams does your mouse have? Right?
Mine?
Yeah, yours.
1 kilogram.
First though, let's take a look at the enemy composition. I can see they have a brimstone, so I know angles on sight are going to be smoked. They have a viper, so post-plant position or potential lineups to watch out for. They're going to sage wall an area on sight or use it to peek. And of course, the Jet is going to dash and Reyna will flash onto sight, so I expect them to play very fast. When I fired these arrows, I glanced at the radar and seen Reyna covering it, so I know I'm not going to get hit. When I fired these arrows, I glanced at the radar and seen Reyna covering it, so I know I'm not going to get hit from mid anytime soon. Once the team has rotated and the smoke fades, I get info that there is 2 in B main. I notice Viper killed our flanker, so she's holding a position post-plant as expected, so I hold here just to see if she comes back.
Nice, right clicking.
My arrow recharged during the Reyna fight, and although I could have placed a better arrow, using utility here can put you at such an advantage, so recognizing when you have it and when to use it, you need to start doing. For round 2, the only thing worth noting here is that I bought a Spectre. The map features a lot of close and small distance angles, so using a fast rate SMG can be useful providing I do stick to those angles. My team however did rush this round, and so given that I played passively, there was nothing worth noting.
That's what I like to hear. Well, because you peek out and there's like 5 of them waiting for you.
Yup.
Oh no,
So first round they tested B, and then it was kind of mid for second round, and now I'm predicting A, but I missed the arrow timing and whiffed the lineup anyway. I'm now running over to A to support the team because Spike had gone down, and with the Spectre I can use the small angles to potentially beat a Vandal or Phantom. I'm going to hold the left angle as per my positioning and try to drone for info, but it gets shot from the right hand side, which was kind of a bad drone really, but at least I know now that the team is still there. I'm playing a bit aggressive now and pre-firing because I've been so passive this game to try and make myself unpredictable, and I managed to bait the Jet into firing a good burst to make herself inaccurate, picking up the kill.
Push.
Now I haven't died on defense yet, and I do prefer this playstyle while defending, so I prefer to not die than get kills. I've now upgraded my gun for free too.
Spike down B.
Here the enemies rotated to B and I either expected a fast push or a save, so given that Viper hasn't died yet it's safe to assume she's retreating or holding an angle.
10 seconds.
I arrow towards B main because I think she will be there and it works out quite nicely. Given that they went mid for their last eco, I pre-arrow this area this round, but instead they went to top mid. I drone out of mid always because I don't know how many of them there are in mid, or if they've taken a lot of ground. The drone seemingly stops them from pushing too. This is good for us because Sage had walled off mid, and we had little access to that other than pushing B ourselves or defending short.
scout headshot.
Jet goes on to finish the rest of the team, and this is a bad habit of mine where I start to switch off the less involved I am. So yeah, I went and bought an Odin. I'm not used to this type of play at all really, but it's something I need to start exploring by trying out new things. I managed to catch a few bullets on these guys, but sadly no headshots or real damage. We went on to lose this round and also the next one too. I died to Sage from behind, and it shows the importance of site players or backline defense, that if they switch off when they are required to perform, they can end up throwing the game instead. So in this round we need to bounce back, and I see Sage is going for an aggressive peek. I won't make it there to support her if the enemy team is pushing, so I just decide to drone and ult, and she gets a pick while I tag the Viper. I end up making a numbers advantage with this.
One more.
I'm aware they could now go through mid, and because we are split defense, I went to peek mid for info. I tagged the Brim and could easily have re-peeked to finish him off, but judging by where his shots were going, I didn't want him to get the headshot either, so I chose to live instead. Would probably send most people crazy watching that, and arguably I should have just peeked and finished him. I wasn't sure if the peek at mid scared them off from going to A, so I went back to B to throw an arrow in there just to see if it would ping anyone. Given that there were no pings and it was relatively quiet, I decided to rotate to A, but also being careful that they could have just hidden and attacked B anyway. With the time this low, it's time to commit to a site, and when I get to A, you'll notice that the brim smokes too, which is an indication that they are possibly about to enter. The shock darts score an easy kill, and I do go for the brimstone too, because I want to take his gun from him. I held a common angle and he beat me to it, unfortunately, fair and square.
10 seconds left.
First time.
Yo, fuck it, stop adding with those big ass updates.
For this round they go B again, and our Reyna picked up a couple of kills at mid, which is where I also put my arrows. They are trying to push against me now because of that mid pressure, and I hold them back with the drone.
What do you mean? He's coming closer. Yeah, I'll bang it.
There's Reyna and Viper B.
Armor, one armor.
That's an ass angle you
Just gonna say that.
The Sage, however, surprises me with the wall. She hasn't done that all game. I whiff a lot, but still managed to get her, and then the Viper who also rushes in. This round I managed to hit a preemptive arrow on the brimstone for 90 damage, so we're now hoping at this point the team is completely crushed. For this round I really didn't expect B or mid, given how it had gone last time, but Jet peeked with an operator and got a kill, and I was thinking top mid anyway, so there is a strong chance they're going to rotate over to A. I decide to drone B main just to be safe with Jet anyway, and I rotate that way too just to make sure she doesn't sneak in. The Brimstone gets a kill too, and they haven't really gotten entry frags like this, so I think they'll commit to site. I go with it to A because of this.
This is gonna be 12-10 now. Yeah.
We lose another teammate and they decide to shut the door. However, I see Jet also going up towards heaven, so I want to make another entry into site, and I hear Jet coming up through mid too. I decide to peek this to take out the operator and get the kill.
Spike planted.
I know I need to act quick with Jet, so I shoot the door down, kill the Sage and sadly whiff on the brim. It would have been such a nice retake if I had hit these shots.
Oh, if you would have hit the shots on the brimstone and then you could have flicked on the other guy.
Yeah. Depressed.
The next round again I had little participation unfortunately, as they rushed A and everyone managed to get the kills quite quickly, which now takes us to 11-12.
Scanning ahead.
Me, honestly, I don't know. They might still try to do like a mid to A or something.
Deploying
Just try to
drone.
get a pick and they go where they
I
get the
think
pick.
they've gone A, yeah. Let me know if you hear footsteps A, because I'll ult it.
B1. I am so washed. What the heck?
You're actually a god with this.
These are Sinatra ulting.
I then noticed that they started to push B, so I decided to bounce a shock dart off the back wall and managed to get a kill on the brim.
Oh.
Okay.
Alright.
Better.
This is playing a different game. Report him. Get him out. Don't let him play this game. I'm not picking.
She's better.
We're now heavily in numbers advantage and we know Sage is here too, so I jiggle and shoot to finish her off. We take the game into overtime now, and given our comeback I think the enemy is too scared to face us, or they feel really demoralised. This shows in how passively they're playing.
Everyone shouts at me for my ults.
We decide to hit B and I throw my arrows onto site, tagging Jet who bought an operator this round, which could have been really bad for us. I push for the pick and I'm thankful Sage gets it too because it was too far away from me.
Let me get a calculator thing out.
Oh, they went for it now. Wow, I'm very impressed. Okay, we need this.
Given that you've listened to me talk for the whole of this video, I'll leave these 2 rounds of overtime for you guys to watch now.
By the way, we can go back.
See how you'd approach the situation and discuss these in my See how you'd approach the situation, and if you disagree or would do something differently, then by all means leave a comment below. As I mentioned, I'm not the best Valorant player anyway, and I hope in watching this though that you learn to get an edge in your games and can carry yourself through the ranks.
Just low garage.
Scanning ahead. Here.
One enemy
Main,
remaining.
main last.
Good job.
Switching sides. Match point.
Told you I'd quit if we lost this game. They rush it now. They have to.
Shock dart. Scanning ahead.
Steps on A,
Okay.
steps on A.
Okay, play retake.
One with Odin.
Wall. The shot didn't hit anyone.
We'll do. Okay, let's play. Good smoke. Good smoke.
So that was the full review on attack and defense, how to read the rounds, changing up what you do and trying new things to be as efficient as possible in those rounds. You're expected to lose some of them because you can't win anything, so it's about adapting and learning to overcome. In my Twitch channel I'm going to be ranking up a Sova from bottom to immortal, so you guys can see the full journey, but also I'll be taking on the role of duelist a bit more too. I hope you enjoyed anyway guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
Enemy remaining.
GG, hello!
Defenders win.
Good job. Nice game. Hey, gold one. Boosting accounts, lol. Oh, double rank up because of your elo.
Dude, I cannot do 6-shot for the life of me.
Holy fuck, your MMR is huge.
How do you know?
Look who are you playing with, the lobby.